Hey guys, well this is my next project. I'm going to turn it around because from what I can see it's a quick fix. Now I don't want to jump to conclusions here, and count my chickens before they hatch, but I bought the 3 motors you saw in the previous video for $50. So I decided to turn this one around. It's a really clean. I thought it was a 74 originally because it came with a 74 shop manual, but it's a 76. The last 0 points. Next, in 77, they came out with the CD ignition, CDI. Hallelujah to the points. I'm going to go over it and show you what you should check and see what kind of repairs are necessary to get this thing back going. I'm going to start out basically with this safety warning sticker that was on this motor. Now I haven't seen this before, but basically it's a decal stating that if this motor is used on a planing boat and you hit something, an obstruction, it's not going to release. Something's been disabled or welded. I don't know. I have to look into it. I don't know what it is. And as you can see, again, it's very, very clean. I want to wash it just to see how nice it comes out. And, see what I got to do to fix it. The first thing I checked was the tiller don't turn. Till is frozen, so usually they'll freeze in here or the shafts where they go through the openings on the steering bracket and on the tiller itself. But I'm gonna fix that first, and I'll show you how it looks underneath the cover. As you can see, she's really clean. It was in my neighbor's garage for 30 years. And I didn't ask him where it was before that, but 30 years, and it's not seized, which is amazing. Needs to have good compression. So when you get a motor like this with points, the first thing you got to do is, of course, you got to get the tiller to work. I always like to do it that way anyway. Or you could take the air box off, pour a little gas in there, and just, if you're lucky, you might have spark. But sitting for 30 years, flywheel's got to come off, polish the points, put them back, set them to 20 thousandths, and that's that. It shifts. It does shift. It is a little stiff, but that will free up with a little grease. The tilt level works, but again, somebody disabled it, so it's locked down. Probably because it was, I think the package said it was, well, my neighbor's playing with a saw over there, so I shut it off. All right. A little walk around. Really nice, clean 76.99. Coils look like they're in really good shape. Probably the original coils. I don't think this motor has much time on it. So I'm going to look it over for missing parts. The first thing I'm going to do is pull the grip off and see why the tiller's not working. It could be the gears in here are stuck. I know from here back it's all plastic. Well, the magneto's not frozen, so that's a good sign. The prop down below still has a converging ring on it, which is very rare. Could be original prop, but it's got the plastic converging ring is still on it. And just all in all, it looks really good. I'm gonna do a compression check, just for shits and giggles. But again, the first thing is let's take a look at this tiller. So I took the grip off first and put a vice grip right here carefully and just tried to budge it here. I didn't want to try forcing the grip here because these are where the hole is and the screw goes on the grip are very weak and can break. So I tried turning it here, and now that didn't work. So now I'm looking into it a little bit further, where I'm popping off the rubber. I'm going to try a torch from underneath. Of course, the gears that it mates with are metal, so you're not going to melt them. The shafts after that, going back to the motor, everything is plastic, so you'd melt it, you destroy it. So what I basically do is I spray WD-40 underneath here, saturate it with two little rubber bullets, pop in. I don't want to destroy this. It's been on here since '76, so I already pried one side up. And taking a common head screwdriver, I do the same on the other side. Mind you, I saturated the other side, so I just kind of work it, and it comes right out. So now I can get this out of the way, either take the thing completely off or just hold it back and try heating these gears up. Actually, I don't remember, but I think the gear that it meshes with off the shaft could be plastic. I'd have to double check on that, but at least now I could heat this area right here, because I know this gear is a bronze, the shaft is aluminum, and the casting is aluminum. So I'm going to heat this up right here. See if I can free this thing up and just work my way back. That's all you can do. If I didn't take the rubber dust cover off, I would have destroyed the little bullets that hold it in place in the hole. So. Just want to make sure I'm not destroying that gear. Okay, that's pretty good. And I'll put the vice grip up here. Nope, she's stuck right here, sitting for 30 years. So I'm going to soak this, heat it more, and then I'll get back. So I decided to take the tiller off, because I really want to get a lot of heat in here, and I don't want to just mess up anything. I'll put this in a vise and just work on it easier. It's pretty simple, 9/16 nut on this side, and then you come in through there's a hole on this side with a 3/8 socket and a long extension. Then once you kind of got to back out the bolt and take the nut off simultaneously to get the tiller off. So I went as far as I could with this, and it will not come all the way off until you back the screw out. It takes the shoulder bolt out. So let me do that. I'll get back. So here I got the acorn nut off. Again, you got to work this back, and then you got to wrench this off slowly to finally the bolt is out of the way enough for this to get the nut off. And then once you do that, you just unscrew the tiller right off. They're a little tricky, these, And I also had to use a torch too to loosen it up. So I won't deny it. She was a little stubborn to get this off, but you can see there's all salt in here, and the bolt that goes through here is actually left it in there. That's what was stuck in here. You can see it's a nice size shoulder bolt. So, and if you ever do this job, just don't lose a washer. It goes in between here and the tiller. And again, I leave the hardware inside because there's a washer and the bolt. You don't have to take it all the way out. So now I can take this on the vise, take this part, put it in the vise, really heat it up and work it out without worrying about melting the dust cover, and I'll take it from there. Now I'm going to see if I can turn this from here, or the linkage here. So then, again, I'm starting from A and I'm working my way back to Z. First repair is on this 1976 $50 9.9. Wheel off. Check the points and polish them. That's on my list of things to do. I made a short little list. I did the tiller yesterday. It took about an hour and a half. I did take the tiller arm completely off, and I took it in my shop, put it in a vise, and sure enough, the gear was frozen. So I heated it up really diligently, not too hot, but I didn't want to melt the nylon bushing in there. And I got that to free up, and I put it all back together yesterday. And before I pull the flywheel, I'll show you the that she's working again. Wow, I don't have to fix the steering. Amazing. So I got the tiller all freed up. Now I can move on. Next, like I said, I'm going to take the flywheel off. So I'll off with the nut. Barely got it off with that air gun. It's an old Blue Point. Still works. Now I'm going to put on my puller. You've seen this before, just an automotive harmonic balancer puller. And let me get that on there and I'll pop it off. So what I like to usually do, just a reminder, get at least a ½ inch of threads in on each bolt evenly. And then you can come down with the center to snug it up. Just make sure you got enough threads in there, because if you don't, you just pull the threads out and then you got to put a helo coil on it, and that might not work. And it's just a good practice. Make sure you have at least a ½ inch of threads or more, but you don't want to force it all the way down too, past the point where it starts to feel like it's bottomed out. That's a no-no. So I took the first set of points off, and believe it or not, they're not that dirty. I don't know how they didn't really get oxidized. Being in that garage, at least, it's 30 years was in that garage, and who knows where it was before that. But they're just very slightly dirty, so I'm going to polish them, and I'll show you the difference. Now, all polished up. And I'll do the other side, same thing. So here I polished the points, my blue roll lock disc, which is the fine. Let's get the right view. Nice and polished. There's absolutely no pitting in these points. I don't think this motor was even hardly ever ran with this set of points in there. Like new. This motor might have had spark even without doing this, but that's very rare. All right, so let me do the other side. So I cleaned both points, put them back in. I mean, look at the inside of this flywheel. Look at that. They just came off the assembly line. Another little test I do too, sometimes I forget, but the low tension has 4 sets of magnets, well, 2 sets of magnets, 4 impregnated in the flywheel. Just, take a screwdriver, average size screwdriver, and just make sure it pulls the blade in. Well, very rarely I've come across weak magnets, but it does happen. Okay. I just popped the plugs out. They look pretty good. No rust, no water. Who could ask for more? And they're the right ones, UL81Js. Unbelievable. Still amazed at how clean this motor is. Got a real good brake. Thank you, God. Well, I tell you, there's always surprises. I really didn't make that noise before. Now, let's see. Right away, I'm thinking maybe I left something under the flywheel. I don't know. Oh, now it stopped. Crazy. Let's do a compression check. 100 pounds. I mean, that's really good. For 9.9, woo. Again, the main thing is, you know, you don't want 30 pounds of compression with a 9.9. You want at least 75 or better. You know, depending on which motor it is, but no more than 10 pounds difference. So. Number one has 75, so it's a little bit, that 25 is kind of low considering the first one was 100, so I'm going to do it again. And that clicking noise was the cutout for having the throttle up. I forgot about that. So I turned the throttle down a little bit. It's supposed to lock out, so you basically can't start it in gear at full throttle. So you heard it was clicking away, so. All right, let's try this again. Take two. Now it's at 80, so I'm going to get it running and then we'll see what happens. It should come up. So number two is at 100 and number one is at 80. And I didn't check the spark yet. I will now. So I had no spark. I did check it after I did my compression. Both cylinders, no spark. Very strange. But usually the first thing to really check is the woodruff key to make sure it didn't break and throw the magnets off timing to the pickup coil. Next thing, I noticed somebody installed a 1950s kill button here. And the two leads that go to the magneto, the bottom one is right against this aluminum piece here. So I don't know if that's shortened out, but again, both of them aren't sparking. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the right kill button in here. Or move those connectors, disconnect it for now just to see if the spark comes back. Could be why this motor was put away years ago. Something as silly as that. I knew something was strange because it's got the old 50s rubber button on here instead of the profiled one. Anyway, it's the wrong switch. It's a good switch, but it's the wrong switch. Because the switch that was on there, the wires come out straight out the back, don't hit anything. They tuck underneath and go up into the magneto. This switch is prone to giving you problems with the leads because they kind of come off the top. I'm going to try bending them out of the way first and then double check my spark. If not, I'll just take it out and replace the switch with a good used one. I'm not buying a new one because they're $100. So I disconnected this. First I rotated the switch, still no spark. Because the one wire was definitely very close to the aluminum casting down below. Anyway, sometimes this switch doesn't have the OMC switches from the late 50s. They actually dipped them in plastic to seal them from the environment. This wasn't, so I thought maybe it was corroding inside to ground because it's metal to metal. Originally came with a plastic threaded switch here, so you couldn't have that problem if the switch did internally malfunction. Anyway, even with the wires disconnected, there's no spark. So, next thing to do is the grounds on the coil. I'm pretty sure my coil is good there. I mean, again, looks can be deceiving. It could be bad, but it looks brand new. But the next thing to do before I change that coil is to check the grounds on the coils. That's just what I do. I don't know. There could be a problem with that. You know, there's a star washer that goes in there, and if somebody had these off for some reason, it looks like the coils might have been changed. Yeah, let me take them coils off and see what it looks like. So the grounds, I took the 3 bolts out. There's no star washers in between the grounds. Somebody had these off. The top screw is loose, so that's not good, because if it sits for a long time, it's easier for moisture to get in there and corrode. So I'm going to polish the grounds. Basically, I just use my roll lock again, the same thing, same tool I use for the points, blue disc. Get this down to bare metal, polish it, and the underside of the coil too, where the lead goes, on both coils. Then see if that brings the spark back. All the wiring looks good. You know, nothing looks broken or chafed, so I'm pretty sure it could be the grounds. But the fact that both of them aren't working is usually not the norm, but I'll let you know. So I polished the underside. Actually, on both sides I did it. And also the eyelet I polished on both sides. And I went and got the right, supposed to be a external tooth washer on both ground wires, between the coil, the wire, well actually between the wire and the head. So it's washer, eyelet, and then the coil. So after looking at this more closely, somebody changed the coils, lost the washers, put the coils in there, and if you notice, I noticed it right off the bat, because I just know about this stuff and worked on this stuff for years. Number 1 cylinder is going to number 2 set of points. Number 1 on here is going to number 2 coil. So that they just have to be switched. So that's why there was no spark. Almost 100% sure. But I'm going to put everything back together. Doesn't hurt to do what I'm doing anyway. You know, with the grounds, clean the grounds. Make sure those external tooth washers are in between the coil, between the wire and the head. So it's head, washer, eyelet, and coil. And they're nice and clean. And even when you're done cleaning your grounds, you're supposed to cover it with liquid tape or liquid neoprene or something, just to keep the corrosion from coming back in the future, because they actually do that at the factory. You can barely still see some right here. Well, anyway, I should have the spark just by reversing those 2 leads. 1 goes to 1, 1 don't go to 2. Okay, we'll see.